Last week, Stranger Things 3 dropped on Netflix. That means today we're going to stop and rank all 3 seasons of Stranger Things from the worst to the best. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Sean Chandler, and I started this channel because I was driving everyone around me crazy talking about movies and TV way too much. If you can relate, you're probably in the right place and consider clicking that subscribe button. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of the 3 seasons of Stranger Things. If you're here, you clicked on the video because you enjoyed the show. We're all fans of the show, so let's keep the conversation friendly. We're gonna disagree. That's the fun part. Just don't be a jerk about it. One final thing before we get started. This video is brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook of your choice and a 30-day free trial to Audible at audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. They have hundreds of thousands of books you can choose from, but as you're a Stranger Things fan, you should know that they've got 3 different original Stranger Things novels, a book on the making of the show, and a book on all the references inside of the show. One of those books can be yours for free if you sign up for a free trial at audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. With that said, let's get started. Coming in last place is season 2. For me, this is easily the weakest season of the show thus far. And a lot of that is because they chose to go down the Empire Strikes Back route. And what I mean by that is that they broke up our team that we loved in the first film into these different groups, sent them on different adventures, and then put them in kind of a harder, darker place than they were in the previous season, in which case it kind of choked a lot of the charm out of the show for me, as I enjoyed watching this group of kids come together and watch their interactions as they kind of get to know Eleven and everything kind of going on with her. In this season, they send Eleven off on her own little side quest, doing her own thing, and then even doing her own episode that was like supposed to be like a backdoor pilot for another show or something like that. And all of it just kind of took away from what I loved about season 1. Adding to that, they gave everyone like PTSD, and so they're just even acting out of character. They're acting less fun. And then you have like Nancy getting drunk at parties. By the end of the season, you have Eleven inventing emo or something like that with the look that she's going for. And that's just not the stuff that I enjoyed about the show. It just felt like a wet blanket being thrown on top of everything and kind of killing it. So the coming of age aspect of this season, I just didn't think worked particularly well at all. With that said, on the monster side of things, there's still a whole bunch of great things that happen inside of this season, especially my favorite right here. Steve Harrington gets major redemption after being such a total douchebag in the first half of the first season. They give him huge, awesome character development in this season, get him to be awesome, give him a bat and take out a bunch of monsters, saving kids. And there's a bunch of things like that in the season that I thought were amazing. They were awesome. They were better than anything in season 1. The creepy stuff still works. The supernatural elements can still be a lot of fun with the mythology and everything. Max was a fine new character. Dacre Montgomery's Billy I thought was a nice addition as a new 80s douchebag bully. But overall, it's just not a season that I enjoy watching through because of where the characters are at and the paths they take them on. Our runner-up is season 1. This was such a refreshing and original show that kind of came out of nowhere, and it did it by leaning heavily into 80s nostalgia and kind of mining from so many different novels, Amblin films, and other elements of popular culture from the time, and combining them all together into something fresh and brand new that just absolutely won me over instantly. On a superficial level, they nailed the 80s aesthetics. You feel like you've gone back in time as you're watching this, and even in certain ways, if you removed the CGI special effects, it looks like so many films from that time period. Add to that an absolutely fantastic score that kind of won everyone over with that opening credits sequence the first time we saw it, that it's a show that even though it's just letters on the screen, you never skip the intro to this show. Then at its core, it's a show that's both this coming of age story about these tweens and then some high schoolers, but it's also about monsters and conspiracy theories, and it joins those together so well. When we spend time with our tweens, they act like actual kids that you might know, with the way they joke with each other, make fun of each other, get their feelings hurt, go too far because they don't know how to interact with one another. Likewise, our high schoolers are awkward, they're insecure, they're infatuated with each other, but in really awkward ways, strange ways. all of them feel like real people. And then of course all of this is contrasted with these supernatural elements, a girl that can lift things with her brain, monsters coming out of the ground, other universes and upside downs. Man, it just makes for a show that it kind of intrigues your mind. You want to know where it's going, and you enjoy the people that you're going on this adventure with. And they found a way to give us characters, give us the payoff that you want in the sci-fi action side of the show, but without overdoing it. So you have someone like Harbour, who's kind of an overweight, depressed sheriff, but at the same time, he's someone that can get things done. He can step into action when he needs to, so you can have those big payoff moments without writing him as just a Rambo type character. Likewise with 11, she has superpowers, but she's also a very confused little girl, and there's limitations on her powers that kind of hold her back, so you just don't feel like she could just solve everything in an instant. And because of the way they are set up, when you do have the moments where Harbour steps into action or 11 takes out some bullies, small actions inside of the season feel like they have big payoff. What kind of held this one back is rewatching it a couple weeks ago. It stands out just kind of how unlikable some of these characters can be, whether you're talking about Steve and how over the top some of those actions are, how non-charismatic some of the characters can be, how Nancy's just not a very likable person in general, though they keep telling us how great she is. And there's so much tension with our kids at times in ways that just feel so overcooked that I noticed that more so than the part of it that I liked about the realistic nature of their characters. Still a fantastic season, but I wish they could have toned some of that back just a little bit, because it went so far in the anger, the bullying, the melodrama that I was like, I think you needed to pull that back just a smidge. But coming in at number 1 is season 3. It started off a little bit slow for me. I wasn't quite sure where they were going and how they were setting the pieces up, but once it got going, it did not let up until the credits started to roll, and then even then, there was a post-credit scene inside of that, so they still didn't even let up entirely. But what I loved about this season is that it was about relationships, and not just in the sense of romantic relationships, though there are romantic relationships inside of it, but it's about friendships. It's about the ways that guys and girls can relate to each other without needing to be in a romantic relationship. You have journalist conspiracy theorists with a Russian scientist having a little bromance going on. They're all set up in ways that as the season goes along, they have big payoff in those last 2 episodes. Whether that is 2 people getting back together, whether that's 2 people never getting to be together, or whether it's even someone watching someone die in front of them, they hit really hard inside of those moments. Likewise, I love that they were able to build multiple layers to the bad guys inside of it. So you've got evil Russians, you got evil politicians, you got evil monsters, you got possessed people inside of it. So once again, as you build through the season towards the last 2 episodes, there's all kinds of tension, conflict, bad guys that you want to be seen taken out, and all of it I thought worked as you went into those final couple of episodes. Whether you're talking about a showdown at a mall, sneaking through a Russian base, Harbour fighting the guy that looked kind of like the Terminator, all of it, I thought, paid off exactly where I wanted it to. This season, very much for me, I thought each episode was better than the last one, and by the end of it, I was like, yes, this might be the best episode of the show yet. It's got stakes, it has consequences, it's exciting, it's emotional, it's got all of it. So for me, this season was a little bit of everything I love about the show, all kind of wrapped into one. Now, those first couple episodes were a little bit too slow. This isn't a perfect season, but it ended pretty perfectly for me. So for me, it comes in at number 1. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out that playlist right over there. It's got my ranking of some of the best 80s action sci-fi franchises. If you enjoy Stranger Things, you'll enjoy a bunch of those franchises, so check that out. Also, remember to get your free book at that link down below, audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.